In this video, I will show you how to put together this Happy Valentine's Hearts box, which is an SVG from Simply Crafty SVGs. So here are the pieces to the box. So we have this is for the Happy Valentine's Day. If you want to get an idea of what the box looks like though first, this is a little bit different than the final one, but basically you have little cutout hearts. So I didn't have enough contrast on this box, but I did like the purple. And I did change the way these are. I did it two ways, but that was too cumbersome to do it. But basically it looks the same, it's just cut out in words like that. So, and the other thing is it's a two-tone lid. So the lid top is the same as this color, the box, and the edge is the same color as that. So you could always make it the same color if you wanted to. So we have this piece and this, and we have some words in here. You could do this with vinyl, but I'll show you. We're going to do that first so we can get that out of the way. They're small pieces, so they're in here so I don't get them lost. There's a couple little things. Excuse me, I have a tickle in my throat. Then we have the lid panel, and if you want to know which one is the lid, there's 4 of these, but the bigger ones are for the lid, so just make sure you do that. And I'll reiterate that these are the lid edges, and these are, so if I compare these, they're the same shape, but the smaller ones, as you can see, the smaller ones are for the box. And then we have the panels, and these are the bottom of the box, and then the sides, and then the panels. So the panels I'm going to put aside. Actually, we're going to do this first so we can get this part out of the way. So let me move that up there. Excuse me. And we have this. So this would be really easy for those that use vinyl a lot to do that. So basically the Happy's like this, so it's really easy when it's cardstock to center it. So we're going to put that there. And I'm going to dump this out carefully. So there's 4 heart pieces, but we don't want those heart pieces yet. That's for the box. So we're going to put those in there. So these are the little pieces that can get lost. The apostrophe, so it's going to be Valentines. Here's the D. So if you were using vinyl, you could just pick it up with transfer tape. I meant to try there is a way to pick up cardstock letters, but I haven't mastered it yet, so I wasn't going to show anything. So we have making sure we have it right. So it's going to be in there as a little apostrophe. So you want to make sure you don't lose those. That's why we're doing it first. So let's do the easy one. Well, we'll go hard to easy. How about that? Let's start at day. Moving that apostrophe and S. Those are the 2 things you could easily lose. So I'm using art glitter glue. And make sure when you're cutting, if you're going to use cardstock, make sure that you use an intricate setting for Cricut, or test out a way to do it on any other machine. One of the tricks I have, and it works on almost every single machine that I've used, is that if you don't have an intricate cutting, what I tend to do is to put it on a lighter cutting. So for example, if this is textured cardstock, and this is textured cardstock, so it cuts well. But what I sometimes do if I don't have an intricate, I can't get the correct setting, and you can test this, is you go ahead and you use like a lower setting, like I usually do, like a medium setting for cardstock like this, then have it run twice. So 2 passes, and sometimes that will make it cut cleaner. So every machine is different, so just know that. And yes, this is really hard to get the glue on. If you another good thing to use is I didn't have it handy for you, so I'm kind of reaching. But these zig glue, so these zig pens are great because they're like a pen tip at the end, And I'll actually use it so you can see it. But let me finish this. So you can see how it goes. And I'll use the zig pen next, for those that have never used it before. So I'm looking for the L part right here, and you can see how see as it is, I lost the I. So I had it, so I'm gonna have to look for it. So the Happy Valentine. So you know what, I'm going to tell you what a workaround is. If for some reason you lose a little spot like that, you can do a little bit of glitter glue or a little enamel dot or something like that. I had it a moment ago, but so this is where vinyl comes in handy, because you're not going to lose it like this. I told you I was going to use the zig pen. So let me transition here. So this you kind of have to squeeze it while you use it. I'm using a fuller one. This is actually a newer one. And I kind of push it down as I go, because you don't want it leaking out the sides. And what's nice about it is when it dries, it's more of when it's wet, it's considered permanent. When it's dry, it's considered kind of a removable type of glue backing. So that's an interesting little thing. So this little piece right here, I'm just gonna put dots of glue on it. So I'm using a pick-me-up tool that has a little sticky at the end of it. So, and then I can place it. And I'm lightly touching it, so there's like a little sticky stuff there, so sometimes it comes off if you push it too hard. Then I'm going to put a dot of glue where I'd put the apostrophe here. Let me pick the apostrophe up. Making sure I go the correct way. Actually, whatever looks good to you. I like that way. I popped it there. And then with the Valentine's Day, with the V, I kind of have to hold it. But just a little light glue around there. I'm a tickle in my throat today here. And then I'll go get the, it is possible that my little eye thing got stuck under one of these because they're raised a little bit. So anyways, let me fix that and then we'll go to the next step. So I just took one of these little enamel dots from Doodlebug Design Sprinkles, and actually just put it right there for my eye. I could have cut another one, or a little circle. You could also use a little hole punch, but you could always. I try not to lose them, and that's why I use these little embellishment poles, which is a freebie from us. So if you go to our freebie section, we have these. I made them a little bit, this is the actual size, but I've made them larger as well. So that's how I fix that. So we'll put that aside. And then we'll go on to the box. So I want to make sure I have the correct one here. I didn't mix them up. I don't need the panels yet, just need the box. So I'm just folding these on the score lines and then just making sure I have the right one. I'm sure I can go double check it, but yeah, that's the right one. So it's pretty simple, this one. I just wanted to make this time I wanted to make a box that was kind of generic, something you could use for other occasions. So I did include some solid panels for the side in the extra stuff folder, so look for that. So if you just want to put a solid panel, it's like this. The only difference is it just doesn't have the hearts cut out. So the top is already solid, so you could make it into a birthday box or anything like that. And I'm going to curl it a little bit. and it naturally will. But I'm just using my hands. You can use the side of a table or something like that. But I'm just kind of training it a little bit, just this middle piece. So the assembly on the lid is similar. So when you're watching this, it's almost identical. So I just want to make sure I get these tabs folded, pre-folded, because I like to pre-fold things. And we're going to go ahead and put a little glue. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to line this right edge up to the fold of the score. And try to get as close as possible without going over. Make sure it's lined up on the top. See, that's what it looks like on the inside. And it won't really lay flat. I mean, it can. So once we get this glued right here, we'll just go ahead and line this up. Again, get it as close as possible without going over the score line. This will help with the panel too, to get the panel to fit well. And then you can go ahead and just do that. Get that glue up. So now we're going to glue this panel inside. So one's going to go on inside and one's going to go on the bottom. So the way that we want to do this, we're going to fold that up. I am using American Crafts textured cardstock and art glitter glue, if I hadn't already said that. It says it on there. So I'm going to show you. I'm putting glue on 2 tabs, and I'm going to show you. Make sure you can see it. You can't see it yet. But those 2 tabs right here, where my 2 fingers are, and we're going to go ahead and make sure you can see this. Make sure this little pointy edge is between those 2 tabs. I'm going to place it down in there, get it lined up between the 2. Let's see it rotated a little bit so you can see it a bit better. I'll lift it up so you can see if you're wondering, and then I'll show you the bottom so you can see what it was. So like that, and here's what the bottom looks like. So it's those 2 tabs on the bottom. So you can do the other 2, but basically what we're going to do is go around it. So now we can just add glue to these tabs. I'll go up to the larger ones right here. We'll leave those smaller ones, the second set of small ones, for the last. So you can see we're going to go this way. So in here, and I'll just go this way. We'll start where we ended, where we began, and then just go around, pushing in the sides to make sure those tabs go in and the inside tab folds are lining up to the edge of this inside panel. So remember, we only went to the 2 big ones. So this is what it looks like on the bottom. So we just go ahead and flip these over. And the reason why I do it this way is that it's just much easier than trying to line it up. I'd rather use an extra panel to do this. I mean, you could do it with 1 panel and just put it over the top, but when you have shapes like this, it becomes more difficult and you have to really line it up. So I just prefer doing it that way. If anybody's wondering, like, why an extra piece of paper? I've done it with somebody else a little bit different. Well, we all are different in our preferences, so I feel that I want to make the designs as user-friendly for all skill levels, so I feel this is easier for people that are new to any kind of curved box. So there's the box shape. So we can finish off the bottom by just covering this. So I do have textured cardstock, so I'm just going to put the textured side facing up. Then we'll add glue to these. And if you wanted to, you could always ink the edges here prior to putting it on. What that does, a lot of people are like, what that does, sometimes it hides the imperfections or the gap a little bit, because you have it doesn't really hide it. It does. Anyways, it's a little trick to hide little imperfections, but you barely even can notice it. You just want to line it up as best you can. I have a little glue leaking out to hide those tabs. Once you get it into place, you can just reach in and apply pressure that against the tab. I just go around the edges, make sure that it's good and secure around the edges. So the edges on something like this tend to kind of pull up a little bit. So the more you go around the edges, and I'm just doing it with my fingertips, but you could use a tool if you want to. Just be careful it's not too pointy so it points through. So that's what it looks like. Now we'll go ahead and add the side panels. So the side panels, we'll just dry fit it. So wherever the fold is, you see they're scored. I'm just going to hold that in place and then go around on the other side, and you can see that's how it goes on. So on both sides, we're just going to put it on there. If you want, you can put more gap on the bottom or less gap on the bottom. If you want it flush, you can put it flush. If you want it centered, or you want more white. So I'm going to pull it down a little bit with just a really thin line down there. There's always options in how you can do things. You don't always have to follow our assembly's instructions to the T. So I'm adding a little light glue around here, just on that one side. So what reason I'm doing that is so I can make sure it's lined up where I want it, and that this fold right here goes over the fold on the box. So I just want a slight opening down there. So and then I can make sure it's nice and straight, so when I come around here, I'll get it as straight as possible. So one last thing to note, if you're using a cardstock for this piece, it could be a little tighter. Just because the thicker you have, the less allowance you have. So it might not go over this. So this is not a paper, this is a printed cardstock. So, but it's kind of not that thick. It's just like a copy cardstock. Anyways, it does make a difference though. So we're gonna go ahead and finish gluing that. And I'm just going to go along the top edges and the edges. Just light glue. So I just went off a little bit. And if you go around the, as you go around the heart area, make sure you don't get too close to the openings. So we're going to go continue putting it on from where we ended up. And I'm just going to carefully run my fingers across it as I get it to the other side. So it's and that's it. So I'll put the other one on. Actually, we'll put the two hearts and then we're going to do the other. I'm not going to show you the other side, but the other side's identical to this side. But let's put the hearts on so you can see that part. Just these right here. So I'm just making sure. So it might take you some time, so take some time at that place, at that thing. So there's two sets of these. We need a whole one and a part one. So the part one's going to go there and the whole one's going to go here. So we're going to put it on like this. So there should be, the way that I think works best is to take this piece first. Add a little glue to it. Don't throw the glue like I did. And there's a little, you will see that you want the same distance from the top, sides, everything, so you can center it. See how you can center it right there? And then make sure, since it's a little rounded, you need to give some pressure to get it on there. Make sure it's in place. Make sure you have no glue on your fingertips, which I always do, by the way. But I still tell other people, even though I do it all the time. And then we'll place it right there. And that's another good place for vinyl. Oops. So this is a nice thing too about not using vinyl, because you can, with vinyl, it just, you know, it gets stuck really quick. But when you're gluing with wet glue, you have a little wiggle room to be able to get it in place. So, okay, let me do the other side and then we'll work on the lid. So we have that. So that's on both sides now, and you can see the little hearts cut out. So it does help with the contrast of the white to the pattern paper. So this is a kind of a musical thing. It's kind of fun. So now we have the lid. So on one piece we can go ahead and put this on here. So we can go ahead and layer this. So the other piece we're going to put together just like we did the box, where we put one inside and one on the top. So this will be the one on the top, obviously. I mean, it could be inside. You could cut another piece and put something like this inside if you wanted to. Of course, I didn't get it centered. Let's try that again, shall we? Okay. Let's get close enough. Apparently my centering eye is just not in today. And then when you put this on, it's going to be like this. So we're going to put the Happy Valentines like that. I know it's kind of like the same. Anyways, it's hard with paper that the musical was going both ways. But so you could wait until the end to do that. I mean, it's pretty flat, so I feel comfortable putting it on. Actually, I'm going to wait because I put that little enamel dot. If it were flat, I would just put that on, but this is flat, so let's do that, because otherwise when we put it upside down and apply pressure to get that on there, then we don't want to have any bumpy stuff. So we're going to put it together the same way. So you want to fold it the same way as the box. So curl it just a little bit in the middle. So we still have little scores on each side. And then fold all those. It's easier to do this, to curl that middle piece before you fold the tabs. I've done it both ways because if you watch me, I don't remember things. Honestly, people who email me and it's a design from, I don't know, years ago, I have to go and refer to the video because, you know, as soon as I make it, my head just freezes. I don't know. What would be cute here, I didn't put panels on this. I just wanted you know, a different kind of so it gives it a different color look there rather than doing panels. But you could try to emboss it a little bit with the embossing folder. I didn't do that. But they have border ones. In fact, let me see if I can find a border one with hearts, and I'll add that to it. And I'll show you it if I can find one. So if you're anything like me, so I'm giving this a try. I wasn't planning this. But here's the embossing folder I decided I'm going to use, and I'll have it that way. I always test it on a piece of cardstock to see if I like the look. So that'll be on the lid edge. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So if you're like some of us, you know, Cuttlebug doesn't make them anymore, but Anna Griffin was selling this for a while, and I would get all these border ones. So these are good ones to use because of the size. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little pizzazz to these edges. I wanted to show you because many times I do this and people will say, well, how did you do that? So it does compromise the, I have to put it one way versus the other, so I'm just trying to figure out which way to do it. Okay, so I'm going to kind of emboss this too. I didn't want to emboss the tab, and I could fold it under, but I don't want to compromise the tab. So if I do it, if I do it this way, then the other one has to be the opposite way, so we want them the same way both ways. So I'm gonna, for this one, I'll put it this way. I'm trying to think of how I want that to go down. So I want it to come down like this, and so it is curved in the middle, but that's okay. So I'm gonna move it up a little bit. So I don't know if you can see through there, but I'm trying to line it up where I want the bottom of the embossing to occur. And the others will kind of come off the edge. So there are smaller ones, but I want it down there. So I'm going to line it up like that, making sure it's in there correctly, straight. And then we put it in between here. Make sure it doesn't move. Then I'm going to feed it through here. And I am using a Cuttlebug machine that's no longer made. And look at that pattern. So the second one, in order for me to get the same exact look in the angle, I have to pay attention. So the tab is going to be on the opposite, this is going to be on the opposite side, so I can move it out. So that one I don't have to, I think. Let me double check. So which side was that? So we went the curly side down. So no, I still have to put the tab in there. So it just depends on the one you use. So just make sure you put it the same way, about the same place. And this is an exception because, I mean, I'll do my best to match it up, but it's got a little curved piece on this, so making sure I can just kind of look at it. It looks close enough. And go the opposite way, just making sure it didn't shift. And then we'll have an embossed edge for both sides. So that's my little delay in the between. So now we have that. So the tab will still glue, it's just embossed. It doesn't really hurt anything as long as it doesn't compromise your score. So you can always test it. If it doesn't work, you have to cut out another one, unfortunately. So we can go ahead and assemble it now. So I already glued the two pieces together. And then we're going to go ahead and do it just like the bottom box, glue the other side. Like that. So I hope you like the look. It is, you do have to make sure, carefully look for the score if you emboss it, and it does compromise the strength just a smidgen, so that's why we don't always want to do that, but it's worth the look sometimes, I say. So we're going to do it the same as we did the box. Put the panel on the inside. So we're just going to anchor it with these two bigger tabs first. Again, just line up this big pointy edge there. And I put the texture side on the inside and the non-textured towards the tabs to make it glue better. Always glues better on non-textured. Make sure you get that little point in between the two tabs and then line up the inside edge of this. Line up the edge of the panel to the inside edge of these, like that. So I'll continue to glue it around just the same way that I did it with the box. So again, it just makes it easier. If you do like this project, I always ask if you could give me a little like below on the video and or subscribe to our channel. And if you do subscribe to our channel, you can hit that little notification bell to the right and you'll be notified when we have new videos. So that's always good. So I'm going to finish this up and then we'll go ahead and, since it's the same as the bottom, I'll just finish this up off camera and then we'll go ahead and put that top piece on. So you can see I already put the glue on, so we're going to put that lid on. So one thing, it's not even, obviously it has a rounded edge, so be really careful and gentle. Just going to line this up. So I have it on loosely so I can jiggle it around to get it in where I want it. And then we'll flip it around and go around the edges to apply pressure. So we're almost done. Just the last thing to do is to put the Happy Valentine's Day on the top. Again, this could be used for any occasion. So you could put happy birthday, or you could put a flower on top, or I know many make gorgeous paper flowers, so that would be fun to put a little arrangement on the top. Then we'll go ahead and you can see what it looks like before I put that Happy Valentine's Day on. So the embossing does make a difference. It's got a little off kilter there. So it's a nice little gift box for really anything, for a little small gift. So let's go ahead and add this. I could have popped that up too. That probably would look better. Oh, decisions when you're doing things. So I'm going to make that. Just making sure that's good and stuck. There you go. It's a little Happy Valentine's hearts box. Just a kind of a generic Valentine's box. That was fun making. I like making different shaped boxes, so it's fun. So I hope you enjoyed this project, and I thank you so much for watching.